GTN Radio. Here. Now the news. I'm Sui. President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of the Congo has visited the Tiananmen Square in Beijing and later wreathed at a monument to the people's heroes. The DRC president is paying a state visit to China. He's scheduled to meet with Chinese leaders, including President Xi Jinping, Premier Li Qiang, and top legislator Zhao Leji. Feng Yilei has more.
Here we are in Beijing's Tiananmen Square. The president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, lays a wreath at the monument to the people's heroes. This solemn ceremony pays tribute to China's revolutionary heroes, and standing beside him is the People's Liberation Army Honor Guard in a show of respect for the visiting president and his delegation. This ceremony comes at the start of President Tshisekedi's 6-day state visit to China, during which he will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two leaders are expected to hold talks on international and regional issues of common interest and witness the signing of trade and other cooperation agreements.
China's newly appointed ambassador to the United States, Xie Feng, has met with U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Victoria Nuland. Xie said on social media that he looks forward to working with American colleagues in the days ahead. Nuland expressed her welcome to Xie Feng and said open dialogue is critical to managing the China-U.S. relationship. China's Commerce Minister has conveyed the country's concerns over U.S. policies and regulations on trade, semiconductors, and exports to his U.S. counterpart. Wang Wentao is in the United States to attend an APEC meeting. He met with U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo in Washington. The two officials exchanged ideas on economic and trade issues of common concern. The Chinese Commerce Minister is also expected to meet with the U.S. Trade Representative on the sidelines of the APEC Trade Ministers meeting in Detroit. Hendris Brandy reports.
The U.S. and China, representing the world's two largest economies, obviously are big players. They've had a very tense relationship in a lot of different respects, but certainly with regards to the economy. There is an effort now to resume the dialogue between the two countries. China has said it's open for business, but clearly the animosity and distrust between the U.S. and China remains very high. China's Commerce Minister Wang Wentao is in the U.S. for several key meetings, and that could go a long way to setting the tone between the two countries.
Moscow and Minsk have signed an agreement to deploy Russia's nuclear weapons in Belarusian territory. Russia says that's in response to what it calls a sharp escalation of threats. Stuart Smith reports.
It's the first time Moscow has deployed nuclear weapons outside its borders since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. But the Russian Defense Ministry says it remains in charge of the nuclear weapons and any decisions about their use. Because it's not transferring control of the weapons to Belarus, Moscow claims its actions don't break international law on the proliferation of nuclear weapons. But the Belarusian opposition leader in exile, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, said the move violates Belarus's constitutional commitment to a nuclear-free status. NATO says it sees no need to change its nuclear posture in response, though the military alliance has criticized President Vladimir Putin for, quote, dangerous and irresponsible nuclear rhetoric.
The Ukrainian military says it shut down 36 Shahed kamikaze drones launched by Russia in overnight attacks. The commander of Ukraine's joint forces of the armed forces says German-made Gepard self-propelled anti-craft gun was used in repelling the attack. He said the strike was massive and came in waves, but the Air Force was able to detect and destroy all enemy targets. The head of Ukraine's military administration said it was the 12th attack on Kyiv since the beginning of May. A door of Asiana Airlines plane carrying 194 people opened right before landing at South Korea's Daegu International Airport on Friday. Reports say none of the passengers fell out of the plane were hurt, with some panic and showed symptoms of breathing difficulty. They were taken to a hospital right after landing. An Asiana official said a person sitting near the exit said he touched the door lever. An international big data expo has kicked off in Guiyang, showcasing China's latest achievements in the industry. This year's edition focuses on integrating big data and the real economy and the future role of cloud computing. The expo has been held in the city since 2015, forming a communication platform for pivotal achievements in the big data industry. Guizhou Province is China's first national big data comprehensive pilot zone. And that's the news. I'm Sui.